You are watching Access LaPorte County, Channel 97. Coming up next is the January 2nd, 2025 meeting of the LaPorte County Board of Commissioners. You can find more information for this meeting by visiting www.accesslaportecounty.org.
My name is Mike Rosenbaum, and I'm the new county auditor, and I have the privilege of starting the 2025 meeting. Do I need to repeat any of that? If not. So we call to order the LaPorte County Commissioners Reorganization Meeting today on Thursday, June 2nd, 2025 at 10 a.m. Please make sure you silence your phones. Please join me standing for a Pledge of Allegiance and then give a moment of silence for former President Jimmy Carter. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Roll call, please.
That'd be you, I couldn't do
That would be me. Okay. Commissioner Grammarosa,
Present.
Commissioner Haney,
Present.
and Commissioner Hollifield.
Present.
We have all commissioners present. We have a quorum. We move on to election of officers. I seek nominations for Commissioner President.
I nominate Connie Grammarosa for president.
So we have one nomination for Connie Grammarosa for president. Do we have any other nominations?
I nominate Steve Hollifield.
We have another nomination for Steve Hollifield. Do we have any other further nominations? Hearing none, we close nominations. We're going to do a call vote, if that's it. We're going to call each individual commissioner and they can vote, and that way we will get the results in one time, hopefully in one turn. So Commissioner Grammarosa,
Aye.
for yourself,
Yes.
okay? Commissioner Haney
Steve Hollifield.
and Mr. Hollifield.
Connie.
Okay, so we have a 2-1 vote. I now turn the meeting over to the 2025 Commission President, Connie Grammarosa.
Thank you, Mike.
Thank you. Just light your chair.
Okay, we'll continue with nominations. We need nominations for the vice president, and I'd like to nominate Steve Hollifield. Any other nominations?
I'd like to nominate myself.
We have 2 nominations. That would be Steve Hollifield and Joe Haney. We would like to do a roll call as well for the vice presidents.
Since the only 2 remaining, you don't need to close them. You can just go ahead and do the vote.
Do you wish me to do the roll call?
Yes, please.
Okay. In reverse order this time, Mr. Hollifield.
Myself.
Aye.
Mr.
Oh, sorry.
Haney is next.
Okay, sorry.
Ms. Haney.
Myself.
Okay. And Ms. Grammarosa for which?
Steve Hollifield.
Okay, so you have a vote 2-1 for Mr. Hollifield. Thank you.
Okay, moving on. Consider the agenda. We'd need to just add one thing to the agenda. Under new business, right to life. Can I have a motion to accept?
That we add that and accept the. I make a motion that we add that and accept the agenda as presented.
All those in favor say aye.
Second.
Oh, sorry.
Sure.
So we have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
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 Consider approval of December 18th, 2024 minutes.
Motion to approve the minutes as presented.
I have a couple questions.
He'd have to second, and then we can have discussion.
Second, just to have a discussion. The on page 3, in the middle of the old business, it said the bridge will be closed the first week in January to get started on the work. Is that bridge currently closed now, or that we begin next week when they close that bridge? That was a question I had on that.
Good morning, Commissioners. Andy Ski at LaPorte County Project Management, Marquis Electric. So the bridge, as far as the county's concerned, meaning seasonal operation of the bridge, that closed December 1st. For our construction work, we're anticipating starting mid-January. That's when I got my closure permit from the United States Coast Guard, like the 15th. Part of our work can be performed with the bridge closed, which means open for traffic. Part of our work will be performed with the bridge in the open position where we'll have to close the road for traffic. We're hoping to perform the part of work with the bridge closed, open for traffic first, and then if that works out, then we will limit the time to the road closure to maybe 3 weeks.
Okay.
So I still have to communicate with the city of Michigan City and the park department, because until I was awarded the work, I did not get permission from them to close the road. So I'll get with the mayor, board of works, and obtain their permission, and I'll follow up with the commission meetings as to the exact plan.
Okay. And then another thing I noticed in here, it'd be on the back page, under considered, Commissioner Haney motion to approve the eminent domain proceedings. Then it says Commissioner Haney seconded it. Did he do both? Or is that a misprint? Because it passed 3-0.
Actually, I believe it was.
Mr. Mrazinski moved because he was on the RDC and Mr. Haney seconded.
Okay.
So that needs to be amended.
Other than that, I see nothing else wrong.
I'm going to make a motion to amend the minutes to reflect Commissioner Mrazinski motioning for the eminent domain and myself seconding it.
So we have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Consideration of claims. That would be the auditor.
We have payroll ending 12/27/2024 in the amount of $497,875.80.
Motion to approve payroll as presented.
Second.
So we have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
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 And in the second part, we have operating expense claims of $2,879,682.52.
Motion to approve the claims as presented.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Consider department heads professional advisor appointments. That will be read off by Commissioner Hollifield.
Okay, let me find that page here.
Take your time.
This is the heads and professional advisors, correct?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Insurance agency of record, Michiana Insurance and GIS. Financial advisors, Sender and Baker Tilly. The attorney, Guy DiMartino. Animal shelter director, Rachel Delaney. Building department director, Mike Pullen. Community corrections director, Marika Beatty. Director of facilities, Cheryl Listinsky. E911 director, Barb Houston. EMA director, Rob Saby. EMS director, Eric Fenstermaker. Engineer, Jay Sullivan. Hazmat director, Jeff Hamilton. Health department director, Amanda Laners. Highway superintendent, Charity Glazer. Museum curator, Daniel Adams. Office of Community and Economic Development, Matt Reardon. Parks superintendent, Jeremy Sobecki. Veteran service officer, Eduardo Lozano. Weights and measures inspector, Dakota Euler.
Is that a motion?
Yes.
A motion. Do we have a second?
Would make a motion, or let's make a motion to amend the list that was just read to update facilities, director of facilities to Doug Newland, and the rest as presented.
Excuse me.
So why don't you go ahead? can have discussion, and my recommendation would be that you go, that you move as to everything that's agreed upon, and then take the Newland thing up separately, otherwise it might be difficult, if that works. Does that work for y'all?
Sure. So we have a motion to accept every position other than building facilities. So we have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
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 Aye. Now discussion on the building facilities.
I believe Cheryl Ostinsky's been doing a good job. Every time she comes here, she's more knowledgeable every time. She's handling the commission and the council appropriately. She brings more documents as needed and asked and required. That's why I feel we should keep her on.
So is that your motion?
I make my motion.
I'll step down and second that.
I would nominate for the position of Director of Facilities, Doug Newland.
So you would chance losing an HV person for that department to have someone move out of doing HV and then they're gonna start running the department.
Is that a second for discussion?
Why, I did second it. I stepped down and I seconded it.
Oh, you did. I think I missed you seconding that. But
So what Mr. Haney did. Mr. Haney actually moved to amend the motion or brought up Mr. Newland. There's been no second on that.
Okay, so I'll second that one as well.
Okay.
Okay, so now it's open for discussion.
I think the very first meeting of the year is not an appropriate time to change department heads until we see a little further along. I think that'll add confusion and chaos in further meetings. As I said, Cheryl started these projects last year. I think she should be allowed to see these projects through.
Any other discussion?
no.
Okay, so we would need a second on having Doug Newland as the facilities director.
So right now
No,
we have just
you've already-
a nomination for both. So
Right, just
we'll just
nominate.
call
So
it. a
then
vote.
we just call a vote on.
Yes, please.
On which one?
Yep, that'll work. Thank you.
Mike?
Hold on, Ms. Grammarosa, first vote.
Cheryl Listinsky.
Mr. Haney
Doug Newland.
and Mr. Hoffield.
Cheryl Ostinsky.
So we have 2 votes for Cheryl Listinsky, and so she will be the department head. Thank you.
Okay, so we'll continue. Consider boards and commission appointments. So we can handle it one of 2 ways. Would it be okay if we just, the individuals, we're not gonna be naming off everyone that's on the board, just the ones that need to be changed, the ones that came up for expiration. Go ahead.
Okay, let's see. Lacrosse Public Library, Molly Stewart, recommended. Animal Control Advisory Board, Connie Grammarosa would take over Rich Mrzinski's spot.
I think you missed, so Michigan City Public,
Public Library, Matt Cubitt was the one we recommended keeping him.
okay. Then the, Wanata Library,
Kelly Skurlock stays. So you want me to include all the
should
ones
we
that
do
stay?
each one individually, or what would be your suggestion?
So my suggestion would be do each one individually, just because if you read them all and then somebody has an objection to
Right,
Okay.
okay,
or nominates somebody else.
Lacrosse Public Library, replace Angela Vernon with Molly Stewart.
is that your motion?
Yes.
So we have a motion, do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second, all those in favor say aye.
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 Michigan City Public Library,
Keep Matt Cubic on there as my motion.
do we?
Second.
We have a motion and a second, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Wanata Public Library.
Keep Kelly, my motion would be to keep Kelly Skurlock there.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
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 Alcohol Beverage Commission.
My motion would be to keep Rodney McCormick there in the position he is.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Animal Control Advisory Board.
Have Commissioner Grammarosa replace Rich Brzezinski on that. And Lisa Palazzi, Dr. Adrian Pinks, and Luan Traxel remain in their positions. Currently, my motion.
So we have a motion. Do we have a second?
I would move to amend Connie Grammarosa to myself, Joe Haney on the Animal Board, and accept the other three.
So then we'll take it to a vote.
Yeah, you can take
Mr.
it to a vote, just, if you would just say who you vote for. Just,
Okay, this time we're gonna start with Mr. Hollifield
Connie.
and the others as well.
Yes.
Okay. Ms. Gramrosa
We'll keep the 3 board members and myself.
and Mr. Haney.
Myself, Lisa Palazzo, Dr. Pinks, and Luann Troxel.
So the end of the results of the vote is that it's 2-1, so Connie Gramrosa will be the person on animal control.
Board of Construction Review.
The 3 current members, Marcella Kunstek, John Carr, and Robert Byers. And I believe Jimmy Pressel III is on that board also.
But I don't think he's up for review, is he?
No, he's not up this year. That's correct. Well, those 3 were my motion.
So we have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
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 Board of Health.
Dr. Mark Nelson, retain my motion.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Board of Zoning.
Board of Zoning
Appeals.
Appeals, my motion would be to replace Deb Vance with Jeff Baltus.
So we have a motion. Do we have a second?
I would nominate Tony Oss.
So now we can take it to a vote.
as long as there's no other nominations.
Any other nominations? Hearing none, we'll close nominations and take it to a vote.
Mr. Haney,
Tony Oss.
Ms. Gramrosa,
Jeff Baltus.
and Mr. Hollifield.
Jeff Baltus.
Okay, with that vote, it'll be 2-1. Mr. Baltus will go on that board.
Community Corrections Board.
Okay, I'll make this.
Let me just say real quick, we have 4 vacancies and an advocate or a victim's advocate seat. So you'll name the first 3 lay people and then the 1 lay person minority and then the victim's advocate.
Okay.
Victim or advocate.
I've got to get back through here my notes here. The vacant laypersons, Mike Burby, Steve Crittenden, and Tom O'Neill.
So you want to do those first?
Or you want me to read all of them?
You can do it your pleasure, however
Okay.
you want to do it.
The layperson minority would be Pastor James Lane Timberlake. The victim advocate would be Jackie Dermody.
We have a motion. Do we have a second? Or do we have any other nominations? Hearing no other nominations, we'll close nominations and call a vote.
Oh, you want to call her? There's
Or all those in favor say aye.
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 Nay.
Convention of and Visitors Bureau.
My motion would be to replace Stacy Benning with Rich Grammarosa.
I would nominate Tony Oss.
Do we have any other nominations? Hearing none, we'll close nominations and take a vote.
This time we're going to start with Mr. Hollifield.
Rich Grammarosa.
Mr. Haney,
Tony Oss.
and Ms. Grammarosa.
Rich Grammarosa.
2-1, Rich Grammarosa.
Drainage Board,
Retain, my motion would be to retain Commissioner Grammarosa on that board. Speaking with Drainage Board members, they're very happy with the work she's been doing.
Second.
we have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
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 There's 2 members that want to be changed on that board. District 3, I believe, or would be, I nominate Mark Scarborough. District 2 would be Chad Herches. I believe I got them right. I don't have the district
I think
numbers in
that's
front of
right,
me.
yeah.
Is okay. That's would be my nomination to make, motion to nominate those 2 people.
I'll second that for discussion. The second individual you named,
Chad Herches.
yes. Is he, do you know what he does in that?
He's a lifetime farmer, former dairy farmer. He contributes a lot of information for low ground farming. I mean, he's knowledgeable in the ditch works and everything else.
Very good, very good. And the 2 people that they're replacing are,
They're replacing Joe Cuson, which retired from farming this year and he's moving, and Huey Glasgow, which wants to get off the board.
he wants off as well. All right, thank you.
Discussion's closed. We have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Economic Development,
Retain
that's the RDC.
retain John Carr as a member.
Oh, no. This is the review board, so excuse me, it is the Economic Development Commission.
Yeah.
So retaining, John Carr, we have a motion to retain John Carr. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Park and Recreational Advisory Board,
Make a motion to replace Amanda Nebelung, I'm sorry if I butchered the name, with Michelle Brady.
I'd nominate disregard. Second.
so we have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Pioneer Cemetery. The vacant position, I make a motion to nominate Rodney Peters and to retain Patricia Harris.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
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 Plan Commission,
I make a motion to replace Deb Vance with Tom Fath.
Second.
we have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
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 Property Tax Assessment Board of Appeals,
I make a motion that we retain Matt Bernacki, Amy Blind, and Tracy Cummings.
I would nominate Ken Purz to the Property Tax Board of Appeals.
what 3 would you recommend?
That's a good question. Why don't we just put his name in the hat, and then we have 4 to choose from, do a roll call vote, and each one of us say our top 3.
That would work.
Okay, so we do a roll call. We'll close nominations and do a roll call.
Ms. Grammarosa, please.
Matt Bernacki, Amy Blind, and Tracy Cummins.
Mr. Hollifield.
Matt Bernacki, Amy Blind, Tracy Cummins.
Sorry, just trying to get names all down.
No, that's okay. No, take
Mr.
your time.
Haney, please. Which 3?
Yes. Ken Purz. And, no, it really doesn't matter. We already have our vote.
Okay,
the
well, in
other
that case, then we have Matt Bernacki, Amy, I believe Blinds is what you said, and then Tracy Cummings.
Okay, moving on, we've got Redevelopment Commission.
Make a motion to retain Scott Cooley, replace Tom Fath with John Carr, retain Mark Parkman, and the non-voting officio member, I would nominate Chris Williamson.
I would nominate Tom Fath, Mark Parkman, and Tony Oss.
Hearing no other nominations, we're closing nominations and roll call.
Okay. Thank you. For the redevelopment commission, Mr. Hollifield, would you please start?
Retain Scott Cooley, replace Tom Fath with John Carr, retain Mark Parkman, and Chris Williamson for the non-official, non-voting member.
Sorry, I just need to get Chris's last name, please. Again.
Williamson.
Williamson, thank you. Okay, Mr. Haney.
Tom Fath, Mark Parkman, Tony Oss, and retain Mr. Williamson.
Tom Fath, Mark Parkman, Tony Oss, and retaining Chris Williamson. Just repeating to make sure I got it right.
Thank you.
So I'm letting it play out. Okay, Ms. Grammarosa, please.
Scott Cooley, John Carr, Mark Parkman, and Chris Williamson as the non-voting.
Okay, so the three that, excuse me, the three that I have are of John. I have 2-1 John Carr. I have 2-0 for Scott Cooley. I have 2-1. I have 3 for Mark Parkman. Only 1 for Tony Oss, so he's eliminated, and Williamson is also retained. And Fath, there's only 1. So that should be Cooley, John Carr, Mark Parkman, and then Chris Williamson.
Okay, moving on. Regional Sewer and Water District.
Make a motion to retain Mitch Bishop.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
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 Now we're moving on to consider commissioners' liaison appointments. Steve, would you like to?
Animal Control Board, keep Connie on that. Community Corrections, Commissioner Haney. Drainage Board Liaison, Commissioner Grammarosa. E911 Board, myself. The Fair Board, Commissioner Grammarosa. FMEC, myself. The Highway Department, Commissioner Grammarosa. Job Evaluation Committee, Mrs. Grammarosa. Juvenile Services Center, Mr. Haney. Kankakee River Basin, Yellow River Development Commission, myself. Museum, myself. Northwest Indiana Regional Planning Commission, Ms. Grammarosa. Pioneer Cemetery Commission, Ms. Grammarosa. Plan Commission, myself. RDC, Commissioner Grammarosa. Regional Sewer and Water District, myself. Right to Know, myself. The Solid Waste District, all 3 of us will remain on that board. Weights and Measures, myself. Workforce Development, Ms. Grammarosa. And the Health Board, myself.
So we have a motion. Do we have a second?
So I'll second for discussion.
So we have a motion and a second up for discussion.
I am curious here. I'm more than happy to stay on Community Corrections and Juvenile Services Center. I've done a lot of work with them and JRAC over the past few years. I'm curious though. There's like, that's it, right? Mr. Hollifield, that's what
Yes. They're pretty much about the same as they were last year.
that is, yeah. And you're fine. And you're fine with that?
Yes.
So are.
I don't want to create confusion for the different departments by changing liaisons and everything this early in the year.
But by putting you on everything Rich was on,
Yeah.
they're obviously changing all of those.
I have met with almost every one of these department heads and spoke with them before the election was even over. And they seem very happy with me and discussing openly with me about any issues they have.
I was just trying to get to the logic of your point that you didn't want to change anything early in the year, but obviously with one commissioner being gone, there's
He's gone.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
that can't be helped.
No, it can't. No, it can't. I know you and Connie spent a lot of time working on this.
Is there
this
something
morning.
you wanted to be honest?
I think it'd be great for you being on the planning commission. I think you're going to have a good time with that. I would like to be on the redevelopment commission.
And I would like to go on the redevelopment.
I'm still gonna stick with Connie on that one. So. Is there anything else? Is there?
Can we close discussion or?
No, I think it's very clear.
Okay.
Okay.
Closing discussions. All those in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Nay.
Designation of publication. Be legal notices for the commissioner's agenda and public notices.
I would motion to retain the same two papers that we've been using, the LaPorte County Herald Dispatch and the Westville Indicator Regional News.
I would make a motion that we retain the LaPorte County Herald Dispatch and add the Northwest Times.
The Northwest Indiana Times based out of Lake County.
Yes. There's no state statute says we have to use a local newspaper.
Well, we do, that is local.
Yeah.
I mean, we do.
Okay. I personally think the Westville Indicator would be a conflict of interest considering a council members runs that newspaper.
Mr. DiMartino?
What's the question?
The question was...
Does the Northwest Indiana Times meet the qualifications? It does, because it publishes in LaPorte County.
Publishes in LaPorte
Yeah.
County, even though they're not located here.
Even though they're not physically located, they publish in LaPorte County.
Published in LaPorte County.
Yeah. So, I mean, all three meet the requirements.
Is there anything else you'd like to discuss, or can we close discussion?
Close the discussion.
Let's do this. Let me do some additional research. I know that I've published in the Northwest Indiana Times. And can we table this issue until the next meeting, just so
can.
I'll give you a legal opinion on it?
Appreciate that. Thank
Yep.
you. All right,
So it's a motion to table?
If that would work for y'all.
Yeah.
A few weeks.
I will make a motion to table this until the next meeting.
Okay.
Second.
Yep. I'll look into
We have a
it.
motion and a second.
Thank you.
On tabling, the legal notices, where we're gonna publish the legal notices. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And so all legal notices will be the way that it was in 2024 until,
The next meeting.
yes.
Public comment. We have public comment. Do we have anyone from the public on Zoom? Okay, hearing none, we'll close public comment, department head comment. Do we have any department heads?
Morning, Mitch Bishop, County Planner. Just want to give you a brief announcement. Community Crossings will be advertising for bids for the newest grant we won recently. Advertised twice, the 7th and the 14th, and look forward to opening bids your first meeting in February. So that's a little information for you. That's all I got. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other department heads on Zoom? Hearing and seeing none. We'll close department head comments. Requests. We have a request for considering 30 sick days for a retiring employee in the recorder's office.
Motion to approve the request.
Seconded.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
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 Aye. Old business. Consider using Zoom for meetings.
I would like to make a motion that we discontinue using Zoom from a standpoint that it's getting very costly for the county, and the IT department has to continually spend overtime to keep people here for the meetings. And according to state statute, I brought this up to Luke Britt's office when I was in Indianapolis. There are many other ways for people to comment and watch the meetings.
So we have a motion. Do we have a second?
No.
I'll step down and I'll second that motion. Any discussion?
Yes. I know that after the incident at the council meeting a couple months ago, taking some steps to make sure that most likely will never happen again. It was certainly unfortunate. This is the first time that's happened, and hopefully something like that will never happen again. One of the well, there's many reasons why keeping an access point for both elected officials, department heads, and most importantly the public to be able to see the meetings and participate in them is extremely important. For example, in evening meetings, does a department head that lives, south part of the county or the northern part of the county, do they need to drive here for a meeting when they could just be on Zoom for 5 minutes and spend the rest of the time with their family? The other side of it is, we have, if you pay attention to some of the folks who Zoom in and watch, these are folks that aren't necessarily easily able to travel. In some cases, they're have different ailments that preclude them from getting out and about as well. We do have ALCO, which is nice for people to watch, but the only way for someone to participate if we remove Zoom would be for them to actually show up here in person, which for elected officials, I think it's important for us to be here. The public to come in and see us and look us in the eye. It's extremely important. Looking back to all the elected officials last year, from the council to the commission, all of them attended at least one meeting via Zoom, with the exclusion of myself. In 4 years, I've attended every meeting. I've also attended every meeting in person. I've never utilized Zoom for a Board of Commissioners meeting. Once or twice, I've used it for the Planning Commission when I was in Indy for a conference. It was convenient to be able to Zoom in and still be able to make those meetings. You'll find if you're going to go to some of these conferences downstate, you're going to find they're going to conflict with your Plan Commission meetings quite often. So you'll probably miss 2 or 3 meetings a year at least from the Plan Commission because you won't be able to Zoom in. Although I don't know if this board actually has the ability to bind the council and the others. Yeah. So we don't. So the Plan Commission may decide to do different. To do different. Same thing with the council and things like that. So. Considering we're just talking about us and the handful of boards that we can actually directly oversee, I don't see a point in restricting the public's access, nor for department heads who have a 2-minute request have to drive in here 6, 7, 8 o'clock at night for our evening meetings when they could just Zoom in. Again, as a commissioner on Board of Commissioners, I've never once utilized Zoom to attend one of our meetings here. I've always shown up in person. So if we get rid of it, it's not going to affect me because I show up. But it is going to affect the folks in the public for being able to actually participate in these meetings, because other than showing up, there's no way. And of course, as you know, we've got a very large county. Getting up here from the southern part of the county, let's say, you talk from southern ends, you're talking about 45 minutes, 50 minutes, an hour, depending on if you hit how many trains you hit on the way up. that's my thoughts on it.
I spoke with Public Access Counsel Luke Britt during training session. There was, I'd say, at least 30 minutes discussion on this. The majority of the counties have stopped using it because of there's no longer a COVID catastrophe happening. And as happened during the council meeting when they were interrupted by the nonsense, people can use their phone, and that is perfectly legal according to Luke Britt. And we have the Alco Facebook page, so if people are going to have Zoom, they're going to have access to the internet. They could have access to that, and if they really want to speak publicly, he said that there's nothing wrong with, like they did at the council meeting, put the phone up to the microphone so they can record their comments.
We also, I want to make clear that Zoom was not here prior to COVID. When the COVID scare came along, that's when Zoom came along. There are some departments that are using it. There are a lot of departments that have meetings that are not using it. It is currently costing us $7,000 a year to have, plus all the overtime or comp time that we're having to give to run these meetings. So, would you like to speak on it?
I would, just on a couple comments that Mr. Haney talked about. And my name's Darlene Hale. I'm the LaPorte County IT Director. We have taken precautions. We no longer allow anybody to show video or, their face. Their names can show up, and that's it. So I know posing, if somebody does connect, you can't show your picture, so I don't know if you can legally vote. We don't allow that anymore through Zoom, and there's always a chance. I mean, they build servers out there just so that people can do Zoom bombing. We have taken precautions, but there's always a chance.
Sure.
Thank you. So we're going to close discussion at this time and take a vote. All those in favor?
One last point, sorry. We have home rule here in Indiana, of course, which generally speaking is a good thing. One of the things that I've said, over a number of different topics over the last 4 years is just because the state gives us the bare minimum to do doesn't necessarily mean we need to do the bare minimum. And that would be my point on this. Just because the state says we don't have to allow, the state also says we don't have to have public comment at all during these meetings. So if, I'd like to see LaPorte County do more than the bare minimum, personally. Thank you.
Okay, closing discussion. All those in favor say aye. Aye.
Nay.
Moving on. Under new business, right to life. We had a request for a rally. Would you like to come up?
Good morning, Commissioners.
Good morning.
My name is Paul Coronado. My wife and I are co-directors for the Right to Life of Northwest Indiana. As you may know, LaPorte County Right to Life for many years has provided programs and services regarding life issues within this county. Last year, in early of 2024, they merged their programs and services with the Porter County Right to Life. And so they created the new Right to Life of Northwest Indiana. For many years, Porter County Right to Life has done a prayer vigil in front of the Porter County Courthouse in Valparaiso in January. January is recognized as Sanctity of Life Month, which was put forth by President Ronald Reagan on the 11th anniversary of the Roe versus Wade decision. And for many years, the Porter County Right to Life has done a prayer vigil, as I said, in front of the Porter County Courthouse. And we would like to bring that event to the LaPorte County area. What we've requested is to have a prayer vigil on January 11th. It's a stationary vigil. We're not doing a march. We're not protesting. We want to set up a table with a microphone and a speaker. Total time of the prayer vigil is going to be 1 hour. possibly even a little less, depending on the weather. I know it's looking like it's going to be a cold week next week, but the total amount of time that we want to utilize the space is about 2 hours. Set up about a half hour, 20 minutes. Have the prayer vigil that would last about an hour, and then clean up, break down, again, another 20, 30 minutes. So the total amount of time that we're looking at to be in front of the courthouse is 2 hours, with 1 hour for the vigil itself.
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
Will you be utilizing the sidewalks in front of the courthouse? Because are those, Mr. DiMartino, maybe you can answer this. Are those sidewalks in front of the courthouse, are they county property or are they city property?
I believe the sidewalks are city, but we might maintain them, but I believe they were gonna be in the grassy.
In the grassy area?
Right.
Correct.
In the grassy,
On the
so you won't be
courthouse
blocking, so you won't be blocking the sidewalks?
No, we will not. No.
That's the only question I had. Oh, wait, one more. Will you be retaining liability insurance?
Yes,
Yes.
I have the certificate
Okay.
of insurance.
Okay.
I'll make a motion to approve your request for the vigil.
Okay. One more thing. We did ask when I initially made the request. As I said, we're going to be utilizing just a small speaker and microphone system, and if it was possible, if we could have an extension cord with some power, just for the speaker. That was something that we made the request of initially. So I don't know. Who else I would need to talk to just to ensure that that is something that could be provided.
We can get you in contact with facilities. There is a outlet out there pretty close. I don't know what length extension cord you would need. I would think 100 feet would be more than sufficient, maybe 50, but there's one pretty close.
Very good.
Andy, I think you have the exact answer.
Andy Ski at Marcos Electric. I didn't know about the vigil. Should the commissioners approve it, Marcos Electric will donate to our services to get whatever power they need out there above and beyond maintenance in a safe and effective manner and clean up after the vigil if it's approved. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I will second Mr. Haney's motion to approve it.
So we have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Just so the record is clear, what are the hours again, please?
Vigil itself will be from 12 to 1, so we're looking at utilizing the space between 11:30 and 1:30.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
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 Aye. Thank you.